Just Google it. Yes, just Google it. So this Thursday, Google is going to report earnings, the second of the Mag 7, next to Tesla, who just reported on Tuesday. And I'm going to talk about what possibly can happen with this earnings report. We're going to take a look at the chart, get an idea of where it could go, all in this market review preview, taking a look at Google earnings. Let's check it out. So Google is going to report earnings on Thursday. Very exciting to have them share their results here. We could see that's Thursday, April 24th. And Google, like everything else, has been beat up quite a bit from its all-time high that it made back on February 4th. That's $208.64. We have corrected from that time down to the recent lows, 31.36%. And interestingly enough, right now we are getting a bounce off of a gap that was unfilled from last March. You can see that right here, this March 15th gap from 2024. And that's where it bounced and found some support. And then we made a little peak here and really created a double bottom pattern. And in this case, we have a lower low, and right now we're putting in a higher low. And we can see that we have this neckline right here. So we want to see what Google is going to do when it comes up into this price area. Is it going to get rejected, or is it going to break through that area? Now, when considering the earnings report, we want to look and see what do we have in our way in terms of resistances. Again, we're just looking at this from a technical standpoint. But we can see right now the price action is above that 20 EMA on the daily chart. And we have a bit of a spinning top candle here right now. But notice there is room up here to this 50 EMA on the daily, which is around 165.76. And then above that, we have the 50-day simple moving average, which is 167.07. So Google has a clear run up into that 165, 167 price area, which would cause it to close above that neckline. And if it does that, it confirms that double bottom pattern, and then it can proceed to move higher. But notice there is quite a bit above it in terms of moving averages in order for this to make a significant run. You have your 100 and 200 EMAs we could see right here. We also have the 200 SMA on the daily. We have our weekly 50 simple moving average. We have our 100 on the daily. So there's quite a lot for this thing to work through if it's going to make a push back up to all-time highs. And so with that said, we have to keep an eye on this. And if we are going to trade it, which I would not recommend trading this over earnings, because earnings are akin to gambling in terms of what can happen. You can have a negative earnings report and still have a stock move higher. We saw that with Tesla this week. But there is quite a bit for this to fight through. And there's a few things we could look at here. Let's say that it is a negative earnings report. The forecast is downgraded. Well, where can we come back down to? Well, what we would want to watch for is a retest of that March 15th gap area around 144. If it could come back down there, if it drops, if there's weakness, potentially it could find support there. Or if we look right below that, that would bring us down to 137.46. And that's that 200 simple moving average on the weekly. And maybe potentially we get a bounce out of there. Now, if that was the case, if we'd come back down to that gap or to the 200 SMA on the weekly, let's just measure that out to see how far of a dip that would be from all-time highs. And if we would come down to that 200 SMA on the weekly, that would put us at almost 35% of a correction, down over $71. So that would be pretty significant. So if it's a weak report, watch those two key levels to see if it drops down there and to see if it gets bought up. Now, if it were to break through that 200 SMA, that weekly 200 SMA, we can see that there's not much down there. And we would probably have to go to the monthly chart, or we could see this monthly 50 SMA is right there around that weekly. So that's going to be a pretty strong support. If it would break through that, there is quite a bit of room for it to drop. but it seems unlikely that it would come down that far. Okay. So that is the downside that we can watch for here on Google. Now, what about to the upside? Where can this thing run? Well, I already pointed out that a bullish move would bring us up here to the 50, right? Between 165 and 167. So we want to watch those two price areas for a bullish move. And then from there, if it could break through the 50 SMA on the daily, then we're going to want to watch the 200 SMA on the daily and the 50 on the weekly, which is right around that 173, 174 mark. And in order for it to break through those, it's going to take quite a significant push, which may not be possible. So really, the price targets for a bullish move here would be up to 165, 167, and then it's going to face a little bit of resistance and maybe move sideways before grinding higher, or coming up into that 50 SMA on the weekly, where that 200 also is, doing the same thing, rejecting before grinding higher and coming back up. Now, all of this is dependent upon what is happening in the larger economy with tariffs and different geopolitical items. But just from a technical perspective, these are the key support and resistance areas we need to be aware of and mindful of when it comes to Google. So there you have it. Google, you're prepared for earnings. They're going to be reported this Thursday. Let's see how it happens. Can we go 2 for 2 with Tesla popping and Google doing the same? They're not going to run all the Mag 7 up, but Google has been beat up quite a bit. So we'll see what's going to happen. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Where is Google headed on earnings? It's tomorrow. Let's find out. Make it a great day.